Yamuna Tiro Achari Chirata Madhavam Kunjabihari Chirata Madhavam Jai Shri Prabhupada ki Jai, Kuntaraj Bhagavatam ki Jai. Go Premanandip, all glories to the assembled devotee.
Which is the next one after.
Well, anyway, whatever. There's no purport, so I'll just read them all. We'll go through a few verses. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. French translation will be there, or how will we do this? Those who need French, please sit near to Dana type. We're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 3. There are French Bhagavatams up here if you want to get them.
Yeah, you can read this one.
This is also French? This is French too, huh?
Yeah, it's French.
Oh, that's the small version. Huh? That's nice. Up to you. So there's no purports for a few verses, so I'll read a few verses. Danvantarang dvadashamang tvayodashamam evacha apayayat surananyan mohinyamoyan striya. In the 12th incarnation, the Lord appeared as Dhanvantari, and in the 13th he allured the atheists by the charming beauty of a woman and gave nectar to the demigods to drink. These pastimes are expanded in different parts of the Bhagavatam. This chapter just gives an outline of the incarnations, the various pastimes. For instance, the second one there, the charming, beautiful woman we've been reading at New Mayapur, Mohini Murti. What's that? Which canto is that in? 9th canto? Huh? 8th? 8th canto. 8th canto Bhagavatam, Mohini Murti. No, where were we reading? We were reading a different one in the 9th canto. Where have we been reading the 8th canto? Oh, I'm reading it myself, that's right. I'm on the Kindle. I've been reading on the Kindle. Okay, so that's in the 8th canto, different cantos. And the next one, I won't read the Sanskrit, I'll just read the English. In the 14th incarnation, the Lord appeared as Nrsimha and bifurcated the strong body of the atheist Hiranyakashipu with his nails, just as a carpenter pierces his cane. So just one verse describing Lord Nrsimhadev. But there's like many chapters, the majority of the 7th canto deals with these incarnations. Sutta Goswami is speaking these verses to the sages because they inquired, they wanted to hear about the various incarnations of Godhead. And one of the reasons they wanted to hear, besides the benefit of hearing, the purification of hearing about Godhead, is to establish Krishna as the origin. And that will come at the end of this chapter. So, of course, Lord Nrsimhadev is one of the most prominent amongst the avatars, incarnations. But here only briefly mentioning, just to satisfy the sages and make them feel confirmed that they're going to hear about these incarnations. Is there someone in the kitchen?
No, it's upstairs. They are doing some work.
And sounded like it was in your kitchen. I need some water and some tissues. I'm about to burst here. That's okay, I held it. I don't know if we have a table or another chair we can put it on. Huh? Thank you. Chair or something. In the next verse, text 19, in the 15th incarnation, the Lord assumed the form of a dwarf Brahmana and visited the arena of sacrifice arranged by Maharaj Bali. Although at heart he was willing to regain the kingdom of the 3 planetary systems, he simply asked for a donation of 3 steps of land. This is a very beautiful pastime of Lord Vamanadev and Bali Maharaj. This is also in the 8th canto, isn't it? Vamanadev, Bali Maharaj, 8th canto. I think so. Beautiful pastime. All the various incarnations have their various forms, their various purposes, and lessons to learn. Prabhupada writes, the Almighty God can bestow upon anyone the kingdom of the universe from a very small beginning. And similarly, he can take away the kingdom of the universe on the plea of begging a small piece of land. For Krishna, it's nothing. It's not like a mechanical endeavor. If we try to, like with Govardhan Hill, we were hearing the other day, if we try to lift a mountain, it would be very difficult, beyond human capacity. Well, some greater persons, we heard in the churning of the milk ocean how the demons and the demigods were able to pick up this huge mountain called Mandara between them. But they couldn't hold it. Even they couldn't hold it. Lord Vishnu had to come to carry it. For Krishna, it is nothing. One time somebody said to Prabhupada, can Krishna make a mountain that he cannot lift? You've heard this famous challenge. Can he create a mountain which he cannot lift if he can do anything? And Prabhupada said, yes. And then he'll lift it. From a material point of view, it's like, what does that mean? He can do anything like it. He can create more universes than exist. And then dissolve them all. He can do whatever he likes. This is the nature of spirit. It's not measurable. People try to measure, even time can be, you can say, can be given time frame, but in reality, it's beyond time, these pastimes. They only manifest within our time frame. It's just beyond time, space. He's beyond time and space. And he's also within time and space. He is time and space. But he's not time and space. Nothing exists without Krishna. Everything's an expansion. And these are expansions particularly. There are different types of expansions, but these are the Lord himself expanding. Not a very good example, but you could say to a certain extent. A man who owns a big industrial complex, and everything in that industrial complex, in one sense, is an expansion of his own energy. In one sense, you could say. And even the people working there are, basically, because of him, they're working there. He's one person. But sometimes, for various reasons, he may visit. Just yesterday, we were in Marseille, and there were many police cars, policemen, 13, I counted twice, 13, 13 lined up vans, police vans, lined up one after the other on the main street, and policemen all over the place. We just heard that Marseille was the most dangerous city in Europe by statistical analysis. They have as many drug-related murders in Marseille as they do in New York. And New York is 10 times bigger. So you can understand it's quite a rough place. So we thought maybe there's something going on here, the police everywhere, And then we found out one lady said something to the Sankirtan party that, "What are you doing? Are you supporting this or what?" Supporting what? And Purna said, "The chief minister is coming. First minister of France is coming." He was coming to his building on the main street there, or going to visit Marseille. So police everywhere. That was the first minister, okay, whoever that means, a big guy. And when he's at home, he's one thing. Huh? He's not the big guy at home, is he? Or I don't know what his sport activities are. Maybe he likes to play rugby or something. He's not the first guy there either. He dresses differently. Everything's differently related to him differently at home. His wife may boss him around, or his mother. And when he goes to the bar to drink, again, he's not he's one of the lads. Yeah, he's one of the boys. He's not like, welcome, here comes the First Minister, and all the pub stands up, salutes him, bows down. That's not the place. He dresses differently. Every situation he dresses a little differently. Huh? He's the same person. Of course he can't change his body that much, but he changes his behavior, he changes his nature, he changes his dress, isn't it? So that's an ordinary person. So you might say, that's not the First Minister, that's a football player. That's a drinker. That's a hen-pecked husband. Right? You could say that. A deep-sea swimmer, if he's into deep-sea swimming. There he looks very different. I mean, he's got goggles on and fins on his feet, and right? Maybe a wetsuit. He looks like a fish, practically. Right? The First Minister. That's not. If you only know him in the Parliament House, with his suit on and whatever, some bad label or something. That's not the first minister, this is the first minister. No, it's not. Oh. It's him and it's not him, right? In one sense. It is him, but he's not acting like that. So Krishna, in every respect, not just partial, but the jivas are like partial, they're partial expansions. When Krishna appears in every respect, he can change. His nature even appears different. Same person behaving differently, relating differently, dressing differently, different color, different form, everything different, for a different pastime. Just like if you've got to do things in the water, you don't jump in with your suit on. You put your wetsuit on, right? You don't wear your suit and tie when you jump in the water. You don't worry too much about brushing your hair when you jump in the water. What will the fish think if my hair is not properly, groomed? I'm not particularly worried about that. I better shave nicely before I go in the water. You don't think of these things, right? You just do the needful. Do the needful. So Krishna also, he doesn't have to go through any exercise in order to do that. Just by his will alone. We have the same will. Sometimes people like to think, I'd like to become how nice it would be to be a bird. Have you ever had a thought like that? Flying in the sky, free. Sounds good, huh? We can't do it in this body, but you sometimes have a thought. People have made so much effort to try to do it. Of course, to a certain extent, they've made aeroplanes and so on. And some people have made some mechanism where you can kind of fly more or less, but not like a bird. Not like a bird. Exactly. You see them like hovering in the sky, and just see over everything, looking down. It looks so free. They say as free as a bird. Huh? No one's free, but it looks a little like that. Or maybe you like to be a lion. Sometimes you want to be a lion. Well, you have to change your, another lifetime to actually get these bodies. But the will is there in this lifetime. And the imitating is there. In the sense that we behave like a lion, or we behave like a snake, or like a bird, or something. In some ways, our nature has some similarity, but we have to wait for our next life or our karma to fulfill that desire to become this and that. Similarly, in this world, we're trying to imitate God. We're trying to, and sometimes we try to, even Darwin's theory, we've been reading, has, it's partially based upon the Srimad Bhagavatam, description of, how Krishna appears first in the fish, I think we discussed that last week, a fish form, and then the tortoise, and then, land, and so on and so forth, animal, and what have you. But there is a system which Krishna manifests in this universe, but it's not that there was nothing existing before that. Krishna exists, the living entities exist, everything exists. It just may not be seen all at once, And Krishna's form here, we're hearing about Nrsimhadev particularly, Vamanadev also, Dhanvantari, and Mohini Murti. Some of them are manifest occasionally. Some of them are more prominent, like Nrsimhadev. Some of them are permanent rasas, like Ramalila, Krishna Lila, different types of expansions. They are incarnations. Ramalila, for instance, is just, and that's eternally going on in the spiritual world. not the pastimes that are manifest in this world. Not like killing. There's no Ravana. There's no Ravana. There's no battle of Lanka as such. Although the thoughts may come sometimes. The pastime may be, like we may reenact the pastime in the drama. But it's not the real pastime. So sometimes Yogamaya creates a situation whereby they reenact as if demons are coming, just for the fun. Sometimes that may be there. We're looking at your cabinet. I can't see what he's holding. Is he holding something? The one on the right, the man on the right.
Looks like a stick.
And what?
A stick with a
Stick I can see, but there's a brown thing underneath his hands. What is that?
a basket.
Oh, I thought maybe it was an accordion that he was playing.
No.
It's not an accordion, no?
No, it's a basket. Maharaj with
Okay, well these are the gopas. The gopas coming home, huh? The gopas. The gopas. They're the gopis up the top. They're waiting. Maybe they're waiting for them to come home. Pastimes are going on in the spiritual world also. Things are going. It's a reflection, but the reflection doesn't have the same substance as the original. It has the same apparent impression, but it doesn't have the same time, for instance, interferes. And there are imperfections, you see. In a reflection, it's not perfect. It doesn't have the reality of the original. So the original, Krishna manifests in this world. He himself is the real. It is not that he comes like an ordinary expansion of a jiva, and we have the, let's say, this conditioning, temporary. The body is not me. It's just a dress that I'm wearing to play a certain part. When Krishna comes, that is him, but he just expands himself in various ways to perform various activities. And he doesn't need to, he does this so that for the pleasure, paritranayas, I don't know, for the pleasure of the devotees, vinashya chadushkatam, and to, give the demons a good lesson. As well as sometimes, like with Nrsingadev, pleasure pastime. Sometimes Krishna wants to fight him. He likes fighting. Comes from Krishna. So with Nrsingadev, he has a really good fight. We only hear a little bit in the seventh canto, but that fight went on for a while, it wasn't just whip, bang, wallop and he's gone. It went on for, what can we say, our time, but it was on a different plane. It went on for like much of the day, fighting. They had a really good fight. Hiranyakashipu had a good go at it, he was pretty good. You guys like to fight sometimes. It's part of, one of the rasas, isn't it? It's one of the natures. Good fight. It's some kind of pleasure. What to speak of the pleasure of the Supreme Lord derives from fighting. And look at this, the pastime side as well. Krishna's enjoying a pastime. Just like Kurma's enjoying the pastime. His back is getting scratched. People like to, when you have an itch, you like to scratch it. It's kind of a pleasure, isn't it? It's a relief more than a positive pleasure. And who else is here? Vamanadev. Different pleasure. Expanding 3 steps of land. What a fun that would be, wouldn't it? Making one step and you go to the higher planetary systems in one step. giant. I am a giant. We may want to be a giant, but we try to imitate God. All these things are imitations. We're all trying to imitate Him in various ways. But when we hear about the actual form of Krishna, people who say, oh, many gods. You guys had one the other day, I don't know who it was, some Muslim was saying, oh, you believe in many gods, I don't believe in you. Grunting and groaning. They can't understand. Even in our own lives, as we explained earlier, we do many things, but you're still the same person. And when you're at work, they may call you differently than when you're at home. And if you're in the court, you're dressed differently. And if you're in the pub, you might be, your friends call you a nickname. You might be Lord Ponsonby if you're in the court. As the head, judge, the chief judge, whatever they call him. People practically salute them. They're a big man, huh? The chief judge in the court, big man, especially in the Supreme Court. And you don't say, hey, Wacko, how's it going? Maybe they call you Wacko in the pub, your mates, here comes Wacko. But you don't say that. And at home, maybe your wife calls you, sweetie, or honey pot, or something or another, or whatever, some kind of, no one else can call him that. You go to the court and, the lawyer says, excuse me, honey pot, but this is the actual truth of the case. You can't say that. My lord, I have to submit the evidence, He has to be very, formal. And in the pub, also his friend won't call him honeypot, unless he's a member of LGBT club or something. You know what I mean? Same in the pub, or anywhere, football match, whatever. You have a different name, right? You have a different description, at least. He's a judge, he's a drinker, he's a family man. These are also ways of describing the man. He's, whatever. And whatever the guy does, he's a gambler, whatever he's up to, You know what I mean? So they're all the same person, but you're giving different labels to the same person. So Krishna, according to his pastimes, has different names. They're descriptions of what is nature, different nature. Same person. But it's hard for people to understand that because they get stuck in their imitation lives, trying to imitate God. And they want to measure God, they want to contain God within their limited capacity. They want to measure Him in their limited capacity, more or less. And if they can't measure Him, then they describe Him as impersonal. If they can't contain Him, then He's love, He's some indescribable, can't be seen, name can't be spoken, He can't be seen, can't this, can't that, just because we can't, therefore. Prabhupada said it's sour grapes philosophy, huh? Sour grapes. The jackal is trying to jump to get the grapes. Grapes, grapes, they make wine from grapes. Sour grapes. Sour? When something is sour. So it's called sour grapes philosophy. The poor jackal cannot reach the grapes. He's jumping and jumping, but cannot reach them. And then the jackal says, useless grapes, they're sour. Because I can't get them. Therefore they must be sour. Because I can't understand God, therefore He doesn't exist. Or He's just impersonal Brahman. Finished. Like that. Anyway, for a devotee, if we hear, these pastimes for devotees, they're very joyful. It's like, for instance, do you like music? Francois, what type of music do you like? Don't be shy.
Soft music.
Soft?
Yeah, sweet. I mean, calm.
Like flute music, South American flute music, something very mellow, very sweet, soft, peaceful, relaxing music. Okay. I know, I guess there are very persons who are very expert at that music. And depends. In many cases, I was thinking maybe you say heavy metal or something. You like heavy metal. You're the heavy metal man, aren't you? Yeah, I mean, I heard you preach to all the heavy metal people in Lyon. You're famous, you know. They come to you. You're that. I don't know anything about heavy metal. Famous heavy metal player. Who's a famous heavy metal musician?
ACDC.
Huh?
ACDC. Metallica.
AC/DC?
Yeah.
But the name of a person.
Oh, the person.
Okay, we'll give the group AC/DC. So, hey, you're an AC/DC. Hey, that guy over there. That's, Bill Cruson or whatever his name is. AC/DC. Wow. He's on the street. Everyone's like mesmerized, they're like, and they want to hear more about him. What's he doing here? Where's he come from? You like to hear all about him, right? I want to know his habits, where he goes for his holidays, what he eats, what he likes, where he goes, everything, what his favorite colors are, and so on. Like that, you get excited, right? You want to hear about it. You don't just want to hear the music, you want to hear about what's behind it. So when the devotee hears, okay, Dhammatari, the next question is, well, what about it? Who is he? What did he do? Who is he from? Where? You want to hear more, because you're interested. So those who have an interest in Godhead or interest in spiritual life, they want to hear more. They're eager to hear. As we just read in Krishna book, they can't stop hearing. They want to. You never get tired. You just want to hear more and more and more and more. You can't stop. And unfortunately, we're not at that level. We may sometimes feel like that, but other things come in and take priority. Okay, so these hearing of these pastimes of the Lord is very, very. This is just one after the other, but it is very interesting. It's to give us a little taste, You go to a supermarket sometimes, mall. There's somebody there. They're giving you a little tiny, something or other to give you a little taste. So you hope you'll buy it and take more and more and more. Spend your money here, yeah. And it's like you're left. Well, what do I do now? Well, if you want more, there's a shop over there. You have to buy them over there. You get advertising. It's just like a little just to whet the appetite.
They make some promotion that you feel attracted. They reduce the price, but actually they didn't. But just
because the price is far higher than it should be. So then they make it sound like you're getting it for half price. Yes. You're actually paying the proper price. I guess you guys are like that on Sankirtan too. Well, normally we sell this for 20 euros, but today we're, a special. You can even 5 euros, In the shops it's like 20 euros, But
it's true. Library.
Yeah. Okay, well that's that. Time is up. It's 9:40. You've got to get your breakfast down, and then you've got to get ready for your Bhakti Shastri course.
Yes. Morning time.
Yeah. And Sankirtan, in a sense, is another expansion, isn't it? It's another expansion of the Lord. Can I move this marker to the right page or not? There's an expansion of the Lord's pastime. Mind your head, my goodness me. You have to be careful of these doors now. They are reminding us to be careful. Huh? Hare Krishna.